Méline is sitting down with the CEO and co-founder of Lumati, David Perez, to discover what makes their methods unique.
He said to me that he could reverse my biological age by 10 or 12 years if I took 3 baths a day.
For the audience who not being able to come here in person, what will be their kind of principles in their everyday water intake?
Tap water is toxic. We highly recommend you get a water filtration system. A barrel of water costs about 5 to 10 times more, depending on what country you live, than a barrel of oil.
Hi David, it's lovely to have you here today. We just did a tour in the Lumati clinic. Could you tell us what is your mission and why you're starting this?
One of my partners introduced me to a local company in Las Vegas that had these oxygen baths. And I looked at the data. I went into a bath and I saw some pretty interesting things within the first 15 minutes of my thumb healing. I had broken the fingernail, it was off, it was bleeding. And after 15 minutes, the tissue started healing. And I thought that that was interesting, how water can make a huge difference in one's therapy for healing. I got some data, talked to the founder on Zoom, and I flew out to Budapest, Hungary. And I met with the founder, and I spent a couple weeks with him. Him and Gary Brecka both said that the root cause of all diseases is a lack of oxygen, which is hypoxia. And I was very confused because I always thought hypoxia was a lack of oxygen to the brain, because when you scuba dive or you climb mountains, people get hypoxic. But I didn't realize that the root cause of all inflammation is a lack of oxygen to the cells. And our tumors grow, cancer grows, lack of oxygen. They cut off the nutrients. So he said to me that he could reverse my biological age by 10 or 12 years if I took 3 baths a day for 2 weeks straight.
Okay.
And I challenged him on that. And sure enough, after 8 days, my biological age was reversed by 15 years. Oh. And after 2 weeks, it was reversed by 33 years. So they have these little devices that measure your HRV. It's funny, my HRV was 128 the other night, and it goes between 98 and 135. The highest I've had my HRV is 221. And I was sharing that with Gary Brecka last night because he was showing me his at 70, 80, and his son, who's like an athlete and is half my age, is it's in the 90s, right? So I've been able to get my HRV from the 60s and 70s to well over 100 consistently, even with less sleep than the average person. Couple reasons I created the clinic was, one, for my family, and then Gary Brecka started sending us people. He felt that they could benefit from our protocols here, which are the baths, the lights, the hydrogen water, hydrogen baths, and also our scanning technology, the NLS scanner, longevity scan, which really adds a whole nother dimension to what we do here.
So because when we walk through the whole clinic and whole protocol, it seems like there has a lot of, unimaginable science fiction-like treatment. So if you simplified all of the treatment you have here into 3 key principles or parameters, what will them be and why they are beneficial for people's life?
So the first thing we look at, if you give me 3 parameters of the different pillars, the number 1 parameter is that we're all dehydrated. Yeah. And that's why you saw the original name was Hydrate Wellness.
Yes.
Hydrate Spa. And we're all about the water. Water is life. We are water beings.
Yes.
We are spiritual beings having a human experience on this planet. But our bodies also have electricity in them. We're conductive. Our heart cells, they fire. Myocytes, all of these cells that we have in our body are conductive cells, which need water. Sodium is very key. When you're sick, they give you an IV. What's in an IV? A lactated ringer. Salt, sodium. So we're all deficient in salt. We're all deficient in water. So when you're sitting in the baths or you're having a drink here, we're putting some electrolytes, some salt in the bath. You're getting like a liquid IV through the largest organ is our skin. And it goes right into your bloodstream. When you drink supplements or take any medication, it's got to go through the stomach acid, your pancreas, your liver, your kidneys, your gallbladder. There's a lot of filters that we have. So the best way to have a beautiful experience of reducing inflammation, an immersive experience, is through the skin. It's bathing. And that's what I've discovered, which I never believed. How many people do you know that take 3 baths a day for 14 days straight? 3 hours with an hour and a half break in between.
Yeah.
So this is where the miracles happen. Starts with the water. That's the first parameter, hydration. Second parameter is nutritional uptake. When you have cancer, you have any type of disease, your cell is cut off. Hypoxic cells, they don't allow any nutrients to come in because there's a lack of oxygen. So those cells, there's an aberration, there's a mutation. Next thing you know, your DNA gets damaged, your RNA you start having issues with the base fundamental proteins and amino acids, vitamins, cofactors. You're not providing those into the cell. So we have a couple products that we formulated over the past 8 years, our brain fuel and the curcumin.
Yes.
And those two, liquid curcumin and the brain fuel, give your cells all the nutritional uptake you need. It doesn't matter if you have type 1, type 2 diabetes, any type of chronic illness, we got you covered by giving you that nutritional uptake in the cells. So one is reducing hypoxia, which reduces inflammation. Yeah. 2 is nutritional uptake. Let's feed the cells, your bone marrow. Your bones basically feeds your body. So whatever you're deficient, your brain needs all of these amino acids, proteins, vitamins, and it robs it from the bone marrow. So that's why we need to feed your body. So your bone density is good, but you could keep making stem cells. Yeah. The third parameter is energy. We use energy to measure the energy with our scanner by putting on your headphones. Every living organism, whether it's a plant, an animal, or a human, even cancer cells, they have a resonance that they vibrate at. It's called resonance. So we use this bioresonance to measure the energy levels in every cell, their RNA, DNA, stomachs, liver, brain cells, eye cells, even your teeth. Yeah. So we can measure those frequencies, and we just figure out how to balance it by increasing that. Now, if we see a frequency for a parasite, a virus, or a bacteria, we just invert that frequency and it will actually destroy it. We call it balancing it. And that's the whole idea. So you got water, you got energy, and along with the energy comes light, because light is also energy.
Yes.
And that's where we use the PBM, the photobiomodulation, and we'll give you a little turmeric before you go in the bed, and that activates as well, and it helps kill cancer cells, viruses, bacteria, and these are 10 wavelengths. Everything we do is based on science.
Yeah. Actually, for the part that you have mentioned about water, because water is something so important that we drinking, we showering in them every day. So for the audience who not being able to come here in person, what will be their kind of principles in their everyday water intake? Should they take tap water or should they take bottled water? What will be the water we should take?
Great question. California and Florida have the dirtiest water. A lot of chloramines, trimethylenes, a lot of pharmaceuticals. Tap water is toxic. So we highly recommend you get a water filtration system. Microplastics in water is terrible. Microplastics in food containers, using microwave, buying rotisserie chickens in plastic containers, et al. Leaches. We now know that's very toxic. Even plastic Coke bottles or any type of beverage in plastic is toxic. So get clean water in glass. Yeah. Always get glass, whether it's mineral, carbonated, non-carbonated. Mountain Valley spring water, Voss water, Evian you can get in glass as well. There's Ophora water, which is oxygen water, which is what we use for our clients that have chronic illnesses or the people that can afford it. It is $15 a bottle. You can buy it at Irwan, at Lazy Acres. It's a really good water. It's clean. It's got 40 parts per million of oxygen. There's another water called Cocoon water that you can get in Europe, which is about the same price. That's in plastic though. We really like glass, okay? Showering and bathing in sewage water, you got to get a filter for your shower. Yeah. And remind me to send you home with a filter.
Yes.
But it's very important to bathe and drink clean water. Clean water is the essence of life. A barrel of water, clean water, costs about 5 to 10 times more, depending on what country you live, than a barrel of oil. Most people don't realize that. Potable water is the most scarcest resource on the planet. Drink potable water.
But that's the thing, when we think about our everyday life, at least for me, I think if every time I have to spend so much on a bottle of water, and then if I have to drink 2 liters a day, it's very cost effective to just drinking the water, and there have other expenses of your daily life. And when you do the research online, they have so many different type of water filter, different things. So how do I navigate through all the information online? What will be the ideal water filter for our homes?
We've just partnered with a company at Lumati, and we did research for about 3 years. I used to own 2 water companies. So I've been bottling water since 2005.
Okay.
For 19 years, I've been bottling water, and now that I see the research in plastic, I would never bottle water in plastic again. But when it comes to water filtration, I've spent many years using different technologies. We now have a technology at Lumati that you can go on our website. We'll give you a link. We also have, if you can't afford a big system or you live in an apartment or a condo, we have smaller systems anywhere from $50 to $50,000, depending on how much you want. But an average house should look at budgeting $3,000 to $5,000, and you can pay that monthly for a couple $100 a month. It's cheaper than hauling water, you know, and getting glass bottles for the whole family. So if you take $100, $200 a month divided by 4 people, yeah. For clean water, it's the way to go. But you're also showering in clean water, bathing in it, and cooking in it. Yeah. So that's really important. And we really also like hydrogen water, which is an important part. It's the most powerful molecule on the planet is hydrogen.
That's beautiful. We definitely want to invite you to our London studio to do more of a whole version of podcast just on the water and on the knowledge of water, because I believe a lot of our audience will have a lot of insight from you.
Have you ever read the book, Masaru Emoto's book, The Hidden Message of Water?
Yes, like about these things.
Yeah, and we have a great book on water from a woman in Australia who's amazing. She took photographs of water. She took it with our curcumin too. Our curcumin, if you put our curcumin to tap water...
What is our curcumin?
The curcumin, the turmeric extract, if you put that in tap water, it turns it into spring water.
Oh.
And we've photographed that.
It's
amazing. Because what we do is you put them in a little petri dish, and you freeze it for 5 minutes, and then you see what happens, and you take a photograph. It's amazing. Yeah. So a lot of the things we do with all of our supplements and our curcumin is that we play some really unique mantras and music, and we treat the water like it's living.
Can you tell us what is the most exciting project that you are working on now?
So about 6 months ago, we had a cancer patient come in, and she heard about this filter. So I arranged the call with the company. Back in May, we signed a contract with the exclusive distributor for this Xthera Affinity filter, which is heparin sulfate, the little balls, tiny balls, that mop up bacteria, viruses, fungi. Got a great safety factor of over 3,100 people they've done with COVID. It was EUA approved for sepsis and COVID. And we're now doing these clinical trials through an IRB in Mexico. And we also have compassionate care approval right in Tijuana at the New City Medical Center. It's a pretty miraculous product. We've seen all sorts of amazing results with patients with every type of chronic disease, including dengue fever, HSV, Epstein-Barr, Lyme's disease. Pretty unique. This is a great new procedure that we're doing out of the New City Medical Center in Tijuana.
Yeah, we were looking forward to follow up on that after. Yeah. Last question, where did you see the healthcare system goes in future 10 years?
Well, we're looking to build out clinics with a bunch of partners over the next 5 years. We're looking to build 500 Lumati centers that will allow us to not only bring the virus bacteria, but we have another filter that we start launching in a few months. This filter gets rid of all the microplastics and glyphosate and all the forever chemicals. So this is very unique. This is using plasma, so like an apheresis machine, and this one over here uses your whole blood. So this is blood, this is plasma. We clean them both up, much better than any EBU machine or any other type of plasmapheresis. And you don't have to do plasma exchange. This is yours. You're getting yours back. Not your sons or your mothers or your fathers, you're getting yours. So these two technologies with our non-invasive NLS scanners really allow us to see the future of imaging, which we talked about earlier. We have some digital CT scanners that we're launching in this facility. It will be the 3rd one in the US in the next few weeks. Hopefully by the beginning of November, we should have that installed. And we're looking at about 64,000 times the resolution of existing imaging systems. So we take our imaging, we take our NLS scanner that detects the viruses, bacteria, and fungi, and circulating tumor cells as well. We take all that, and then whatever we find, we can actually filter it out. So it's like getting an oil change. It's like having your car once a month, once a year, depending on your condition, you come back, and we just give you an oil change.
I love that. And if you give one longevity tips for our audience, just one, what will it be?
Water is key. Just water gets rid of, I would say, 90% of all diseases. I say water, not alcohol, not Coca-Cola. So stay away from all sugary drinks. Sugar is poison, we know that. Look at my skin. If you feel my skin, it's the skin of a baby, right? And I'm 61 years old. Everything in moderation. So the best tip I can give you is hydration, moderation, longevity. But the key to all diseases is hydration. And this is what we've learned here at Lumati. Almost 1,000 clients have come through here. Of those 1,000 clients, we see once they're hydrated, majority of their illnesses go away. So it's hydration. That's the key.
Thank you for your time, David.
Thank you. My pleasure.
I feel the more I know, the more I realize I don't know, right? If there's only one key takeaway from this episode, drinking good quality water and stay hydrated. Thank you for watching this new episode of the HumanWare Project. It will help us a lot to subscribe and like this video. Looking forward to see you soon.